Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is 3 p.m. here in Cairo, time for the news. My name is Amal Mukhtar. I have all the pleasure to be accompanied with my dear colleague, Lubna Yahya. Hello, Lubna.
Hello, Amal. Hello, everyone. We're going to start away with the headlines. Foreign Minister Abdulati probes the latest Syrian developments over a phone with some of his counterparts. Amnesty International says the Israeli occupation is committing genocide in Gaza as war death toll exceeds 44,500 martyrs. And the French Prime Minister meets Macron to resign after no confidence vote.
Welcome back. The news in detail. Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati held a number of phone calls with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Arakci, Syrian Foreign Minister Bassam Sabah, and Emirati Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed. The talks have touched on the latest field developments in northern Syria and their serious repercussions on regional security and stability. The minister reiterated Egypt's supportive stance to the Syrian sovereignty, safety and territorial integrity, and asserted the paramount importance of protecting civilians. The top diplomat pressed for concentrated regional and international efforts to halt regional escalation and restore calm, avoiding any further threat to the Middle East and world security and stability.
Iranian foreign minister said that the foreign ministers of Iran, Turkey and Russia are likely to meet in the framework of the Astana process to discuss Syria on the sidelines of the Doha forum. Meanwhile, Syrian government forces said that they were locked in heavy fighting around the central city of Hama today, trying to halt an advance of the armed factions. UN Syria envoy Geir Pedersen has warned the Security Council that the situation was extremely fluid and dangerous, adding that Syria faced a danger of further division, deterioration and destruction.
The United Nations said that more than 115,000 people have been newly displaced in Syria's Idlib and Aleppo provinces following a major offensive by armed factions in North. UN Deputy Regional Humanitarian Coordinator for the Syria crisis, David Corden, paid a visit to Idlib, saying that 1 week since the conflict have escalated in Syria and thousands have been newly displaced across Idlib and northern Aleppo, shedding the light on the grave escalation and its repercussions on the humanitarian situation in Syria.
Amnesty International accused the Israeli Occupation Authority of committing genocide in the Gaza Strip during its unprecedented war on the Strip. It said that the Israeli occupation forces have sought to deliberately destroy Palestinians by mounting deadly attacks, demolishing vital infrastructure and preventing the delivery of food, medicine and other aid. The human rights group released a report today in the Middle East that said such actions could not be justified, adding that the United States and other allies of Israel could be complicit in genocide and called on them to halt arms shipments. Amnesty also accused the Israeli occupation forces of violating the 1951 Genocide Convention through acts which are intended to bring about the physical destruction of Gaza's Palestinian population.
An Israeli occupation strike on a tent camp housing displaced people in southern Gaza overnight killed at least 21 people and wounded 28 others. The director of Nasser Hospital in the nearby
The Palestinian Health Ministry in the occupied West Bank condemned a raid by Israeli occupation forces on a hospital in Nablus and the arrest of an injured patient. The Israeli occupation forces confirmed the raid in which they arrested a Palestinian man injured in a strike the day before. The Palestinian Health Ministry, in a statement, called the raid a flagrant violation of all international laws and conventions that stipulate the protection of treatment centers and patients.
First Lady Mrs. Intisar al-Sisi paid tribute to charitable organizations marking the occasion of the International Volunteer Day for Economic and Social Development. In her social media post, Mrs. Intisar al-Sisi thanked people and organizations working around the clock to build the nation without asking for anything in return, saying they are Egypt's hope. The International Volunteer Day for Economic and Social Development, also known as the International Volunteer Day, is observed on the 5th of December of every year.
Ukraine's Air Force said today that Russia launched 44 drones and 2 Iskander-M ballistic missiles overnight. In a statement, Ukraine said that 44 drones, the Air Force shot down 30 and lost track of 12, likely due to electronic warfare, with 1 drone heading toward Belarus. Earlier, Russia and Ukraine announced that they will send their foreign ministers to Malta this week for a summit of the OSCE, in one of the few events attended by both countries since Moscow's Ukraine offensive began. The trip marks Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's first to an EU member since 2022 and comes as U.S. President-elect Donald Trump gears up to take office, promising to quickly end the fighting.
French President Emmanuel Macron today will seek ways out of France's political crises after Michel Barnier became the first prime minister to be ousted by parliament in over 6 decades. Lawmakers have voted to oust Barnier's government after just 3 months in office, approving a no-confidence motion proposed by the hard left, but which critically was backed by the far right, headed by Marine Le Pen. The no-confidence motion brought by the hard left in the National Assembly came amid a standoff over next year's austerity budget after the Prime Minister on Monday forced through a social security financing bill without a vote. Well, South Korean opposition lawmakers have said today they would vote with the weekend to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol over his attempt to impose martial law, while the country's defense minister, blamed for advising the move, resigned.
Yoon Suk-yeol's declaration of martial law sparked the outrage in the streets and concern among South Korea's international allies. More details follow.
South Korean opposition lawmakers said on Thursday they would vote this weekend to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol over his attempt to impose martial law, while the country's defense minister, blamed for recommending the move, resigned. Fighting for his political future, Yoon accepted the resignation of the defense minister and nominated his ambassador to Saudi Arabia as a replacement. Top South Korean officials said that Kim had recommended Yoon declare martial law on Tuesday and also ordered the deployment of troops to the parliament. The former defense minister now faces a travel ban as prosecutors investigate the attempt to impose martial law. Yoon's declaration of martial law late on Tuesday sought to consolidate power, ban political activity, and censor the media in Asia's fourth largest economy and a key U.S. ally. It sparked outrage in the streets and concern among South Korea's international allies. Yoon's ruling People Power Party is divided over the crisis, but said it would oppose impeachment with the party in turmoil and 2 years left in Yoon's 5-year term. The Democratic Party needs at least 8 of the 108 ruling party lawmakers to back the bill for it to pass with a 2/3 majority in the 300-seat parliament. The impeachment plan follows a night of chaos after Yoon declared martial law and armed troops attempt to force their way into the National Assembly building in Seoul, only to stand back when parliamentary aides sprayed them with fire extinguishers. If the impeachment bill passes, South Korea's Constitutional Court will then decide whether to uphold the motion, a process that could take up to 180 days. If Yoon were to be suspended for exercising power, the country's prime minister would fill in as a leader. In case that Yoon resigned or was removed from office, a new election would be held within 60 days.
50,000 multicolored lights were illuminated on Rockefeller Center's iconic Christmas tree to cheers from the crowds gathered to witness the annual New York City tradition. The giant Norway spruce, which this year hails from a tiny Massachusetts town, is also topped with a Swarovski star crown featuring 3 million crystals. The 74-foot high tree was cut down last month in West Stockbridge and trucked to Rockefeller Plaza. The ceremony marked the culmination of the tree's long journey to New York, which began in 2020 when the Center's head gardener spotted the tree and asked its owner if they'd consider donating it. The famous holiday attraction located above the Rockefeller Center ice skating rink will be on view through mid-January. On Christmas Day, the tree will be lit for 24 hours.
Welcome back. Well, now with the economy news, as Egypt Sports opened in green amid local investor purchases against Arab and foreign investor sell-offs. The market capital of listed companies so far added 23 billion Egyptian pounds in gains to exceed 2.2 trillion pounds. The benchmark index EGX 30 rose 0.5% at the 30,980 point mark. The equal weighted indices EGX 70 and EGX 100 both have climbed 0.7%.
Oil prices inched higher today ahead of an OPEC Plus meeting later in the day, during which the cartel is likely to extend their latest round of oil production cuts. Brent crude futures rose 2 cents to $72.33 a barrel, while benchmark U.S. crude added 6 cents to $68.60 a barrel.
Now with the sports news, as Al-Ahli continued training today in preparation for the CAF Champions League second round group stage away clash against South Africa's Orlando Pirates next Saturday. The record 12-time African champions Al-Ahli started the campaign in Group C with a 4-2 home win over Stade Aduban of the Ivory Coast. The Cairo football giants were paired with Orlando Pirates of South Africa, Chahab Belouizdad of Algeria, and Stade Abidjan of the Ivory Coast in Group C. The Cairo Red Devils, coached by Swiss Marcel Kohler, are unbeaten in 24 Champions League matches since a 5-2 loss to Mamelodi Sundowns in South Africa early last year.
Liverpool's coach Arne Slot saluted the special Mohamed Salah after the Egyptian forward underlined his value to the Premier League leaders with a double in yesterday's thrilling 3-3 draw at Newcastle. Slot's side were unable to extend their 7-game winning run in all competitions, but despite seeing their lead at the top reduced to 7 points, Liverpool are still in pole position to win a first title since 2020, largely thanks to another brilliant campaign from Salah. The Egyptian star has 15 goals in all competitions, including 9 in his last 7 league games. Yet the 32-year-old's future at Anfield remains a hot topic, with his contract set to expire at the end of the season and no new deal forthcoming.
Well, with this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the news. My name is Amal Mukhtar. I had all the pleasure to be accompanied with my dear colleague, Lubna Yahya. Thank you, Lubna.
Thank you, Amal. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.